Hey, I'm Miguel, Singing Tree Flutes. Um, we're going to start by explaining how to begin playing the Native American style flute. And what I was told is I was given three basic rules to start playing the flute that really helped me start playing melodies almost immediately within days. So, step one of those three rules is cover all of the holes on the flute. Start from the bottom note. It's very important that you get all of the holes completely sealed with your fingers. Do that by using the balls of your fingers. Don't come at it from the top like you're clawing the flute because you might get squeaking. It's very common for some people that aren't used to, playing instruments and things to not get a good seal on the flute. So this is what that'll sound like. So it's very important to get that seal and work on feeling those holes with the balls of your fingers. It's also important to start with a key flute that is a good size for your hands. Key of A is really common. Maybe G would be okay for a little bit larger, medium to large people. G, F sharp. But B to A, B flat, and A I think is a great key for most small to medium hand beginner players. And again, feel that with the balls of your fingers and get the lowest note on the flute. You're using a medium soft breath. Not too hard of a blow because you can get overblowing. The note can pop to the next octave. This flute doesn't like to do that. Anyway, we'll be looking for that sound. And then from there, step two is working the flute from the bottom note up to the top note. And when you do that, you keep the finger below the hole that you're playing open as well. So if you're playing the third note up from the bottom of the flute, you want these fingers to be up as well. If you put the fingers below it down, it's not going to sound like it's an in-tune flute. So that would be the improper way to play. So again, when you want to play these top notes, the highest notes on the flute, you would do that by having the holes underneath it uncovered. And also, I start with that medium soft blow, and as I go up the scale, I actually blow a little bit harder on the top notes. A lot of times I might use the T sound with my tongue to get those notes to be clear. A lot of people, they'll start with their breath and they're concentrating and they're losing breath as they're playing, and those top notes will be a little bit weak. So it might take some practice, but this is how a lot of people might make it sound. That's too soft of a breath. That's what you're looking for. And then you also may have noticed I did not move this finger, which brings us to step three. Leave the top hand's ring finger down at all times when learning how to play the flute. These 5 holes here are the pentatonic minor scale of a flute. Most Native American flutes are tuned that way. Most people are going with the 6 holes because that gives you a much more diverse flute, more melodies. There are high octave notes that I'm not touching upon right now that use cross fingering and such, but the basic 5-note scale goes from the bottom to the top of those 5 notes, and that's why we'll be leaving this one down, because once we start using this, we get into cross fingering. So just for starters, pretend that this is planted on there, it's glued on there and you can't move it. The other option would be to tie a piece of leather on that. Make your 6-hole flute a 5-hole flute. Maybe you'll start with a 5-hole flute. Some people do. I always recommend 6 holes because you can do more with it, and you might as well get the most out of your instrument. And then you can tie a piece of leather on there, or just remember to keep your finger planted until you get a little bit better and want to practice a little bit more. So if you remember those 3 rules, that should get you a good start on playing the flute. I'll just play around a little bit. And remember, you can play any of those notes. They don't have to be in order. You just have to remember when you're playing those notes, you lift the fingers under it. Other than this finger, keep the fingers under it off. If my mind is saying play the top note, remember that these fingers are off, the ones that are below it. Okay. All right, thanks and good luck.